Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast. I'll preface that by saying a very special edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast. You notice we're coming to you the same night as the kickout. We did not do the kickout this week because we're doing this big show on the Royal Rumble and having a Royal Rumble panel. We're glad that you're along with us. I'm your host, Never Wrong, Nick Bull. Of course, we're powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. So glad you're here with us. So glad you have found us. We are the podcast by the fan for the fan. And I'd be remiss if I did not introduce my tag team partner. We are the co-champs of the For Frequency's Sake Network. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how you doing?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm excited. The Rumble is one of the best times of the year, and it kicks off the road to WrestleMania. One of our biggest times here because we do a lot building up to WrestleMania. I'm stoked, and we've got an all-star cast of cohorts coming into the studio to talk Rumble with us.
Absolutely. Just like the ring is full of people on the night of the Rumble, we're going to be full of people in here. We have 4 guests tonight for our Royal Rumble panel. And I'm going to go ahead and get to the guests so we can get talking about what we want to talk about and get this road to WrestleMania thing kicked off. Joining us from SCWPro, we not only have the play-by-play voice of SCWPro, which is Timothy Regal. We also have the ring announcer of SCWPro, one Alex McCarthy. We'll welcome both you guys in. Alex, Regal, how you guys doing?
I'm doing excellent.
You're doing excellent. I know we're all excited. We're all excited. The anticipation is almost too much to bear. First thing I'm going to ask, Alex, I'll ask you first question. What's the Royal Rumble mean to you?
The Royal Rumble, it's the all-star game of the professional wrestling year, right? Because it's like WrestleMania is the Super Bowl, so the Royal Rumble is the all-star game. But in some ways, the Royal Rumble to some people is bigger than WrestleMania because it is that event where you never know what's going to happen. It's always full of surprises, anticipation, a good year, full of surprises, full of anticipation. You never know who's going to win. And at some points, it can be a career launching point for people. I love it. It's my favorite match of the year.
You're absolutely right. So much happens in that match. And I think you bring a good point up there, Alex, that everybody's so focused on who's going to win. But the things I look at are like, what are the new storylines coming out of this? Like, who had a moment in the ring together? And I'm sure we'll talk about those here as we get into this show. Regal, you are a friend of the show. You've been on probably more than anyone else. I want you to tell me, when I say Royal Rumble, what comes to your mind? What's the first thing that goes off in your mind?
Honestly, if I had to pick one word, it'd be excitement. I think the Rumble, you get into, like you said, it's the road to WrestleMania. It's the start of the biggest part of the year. It is it's the appetizer as we get down on that road. It's every 2 minutes there's a new guy, and you never know who it's going to be. We've seen the amazing returns, the amazing debuts. We've seen, Edge's return always pops in my. You could ask the person next to me here that I was at his house and legitimately cried tears when Edge returned in that Royal Rumble. It's like even going back to when I was a kid, the very first Royal Rumble on pay-per-view, 88, the first 2 in, Axe and Smash. That's my first Royal, like, obviously the first one was on USA Network. It was kind of a TV special. We didn't know it was. That second one, that first one on TV, with that number 1 and 2 were Axe and Smash. And it was like, okay, this is cool. Let's go. everything about that from that point where you've seen Terry Funk, you've seen, trying to think of, like, Carlos Colon was in a Royal Rumble. There's some I actually was telling somebody the other day that I love the mix of Hall of Famers and then one and dones if you watch old ones.
Sure.
Like, you get like your Luther. They're a great time capsule if you ever want to go back and see what was going on at that time, because you get 30 guys and you get some guys that you never see again in those things.
It's always a great, not only event, but the match itself, the Royal Rumble match itself, is always one to go back and watch just years down the road to see who was there, who was being pushed at that time, that sort of matter. I'm going to bring in our next guest now. He is the man, the brains, the operation behind Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I also have a little bit of heat with this guy because he's trying to steal my spot on this show, and I don't know if I'm for that or not. I'm just kidding, Zach. I wanted to thank you for helping us out. I couldn't make it up to Waterloo. Thank you for filling in. I appreciate it. I told CZ, I go, you're probably in better hands now that I'm not there. And so, thank you, everybody. Zach, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun. We did the previous show here last week and then, a few months back, and that was a lot of fun. I know we're planning to do one for Central Empire Wrestling here next month as well. So, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's just something different. It's just different and fun to do. And like Alex and I were talking on the show, we used to be a part of a podcast network together, and it's been the first time in, we figure, probably 2018 and 2019 that we've done a podcast in any form together. So this is a fun treat.
Just like Rumbles, I mean, old people are meeting, new people are meeting. It's great. I'm going to ask you real quick, Zach, what is your favorite Rumble memory?
Ooh, it's weird for me to say this one. It was one of the first ones I ordered, like when I lived in my first apartment with my wife, and one of the first pay-per-views I ordered on my own. It was the year Cena made his surprise return.
Yes.
And it was just one of those ones because back then I was really reading all the dirt sheets and everything, and nobody expected, there was no word about Cena coming back. So he comes back right there, and that genuine reaction was like your jaw hit the floor, and that was one of the coolest return moments, just because of because this dude was just injured 3 months ago. Like they said, it was supposed to be a 9-month recovery time.
I think that one and the one Regal mentioned have to be the two biggest. Like nobody had it on their radar surprises, the Edge one and the Cena one. In terms of a return, I think in terms of a legit surprise, probably AJ Styles, because it just never seemed like it was going to happen. But in terms of the top 3 surprise Rumble entries of all time, I can't think of any others. It's got to be those 2 are my top 3.
Yeah, I think Cena had that moment for so long, right? Because no one expected that. And then, of course, you knew the injury history with Edge. I mean, Edge's was 6 years ago, and I still get chills when they replay that frame.
The only bad thing about the Edge one in hindsight is that a few months later, COVID happened and everything got shut down. It just kind of tanked his momentum a little bit. And then, obviously, he ended up getting injured during his match with Orton anyway, but still, it was just one of those, unfortunate things. And the fact, too, they missed the first spear on the live broadcast. I know they went back and edited it, but they missed it on the live broadcast. And you're like, seriously?
You had one job. You had one job.
Did that Edge and Orton WrestleMania match ever end? Are we sure? Is it? I think it's still going on.
It might.
And then didn't they do a rematch that they called the greatest WrestleMania or the greatest match ever?
Probably.
Years from
Hey, can
now,
you sing, Alex?
podcast,
Can you
they just
sing the
review
song that
COVID
went with
wrestling,
that?
and it's gonna be
What?
Can you sing the song that went with that?
No.
The greatest.
Have you guys? I know we're
Within a
talking
song.
Rumble. Have you guys tried to go back and watch the COVID WrestleMania since it happened?
No.
No.
Oh, it's I can watch the Boneyard match just fine, but watching the matches from the PC is just awkward.
Yeah.
We got one more guest to bring in here, and he is the card subject change version of the Rated R Superstar. Now I'm talking about, he is the voice of Iron Spirit Pro, ring announcer. He's also a ring announcer for Dreamwave Wrestling, and he also is a host of the Sit Down Marks podcast. He is our Rated R Superstar. He is DB. DB, how you doing, bud?
Doing well. How are you guys, man? Thanks for having me on.
Well, I decided right before the show the order of the participants, and when I found out that you're actually going to the Rumble and you have tickets, you drew number 30. Tell me how excited you are just a few days out from going to what's kicking off the biggest part of the wrestling season.
Yeah, man, I'm very excited, man. You know, this work week can't get over quick enough, right? Like, you know, just counting down the days, and everybody that I'm going with, you know, we've been on the text stream all week, you know, counting down the days, like, you know, a funny little 3, 2, 1. You know, it's almost a couple of days. You know what I mean? So we're very excited, man. Ready to go. Had a little hard time getting tickets in the beginning because you know, there's a lot of people trying to get tickets because there's so much going on in those couple of days now, and they're opening up this big huge WWE shop at the convention center and autographs and stuff, and you know, and so that's going to bring people not even going to the Rumble, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a huge weekend. I'm excited. It's going to be my 3rd ever Rumble that I'm getting to go to, so I'm excited. I had to go see Cena, man. You know, I've never been a big Cena guy, but you know, it's the retirement tour allegedly. You know, so so you know, he got to go, right? If anybody says they're retiring, if any wrestler that I'm probably going to believe, John Cena is probably the number one. I'm going to believe that he's actually going to stick to it. So I'm going to take the man at his word, and I'm going to see him at the Rumble because this is the swan song from his own lips. So I'm excited, man. We're ready to go. Fired up.
Not only is this the swan song for Cena as he's advertising it and as WWE advertising it, you know, you got him in the Rumble. Is it okay to ask him? I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. Is this the most wide open Rumble that you can remember?
In quite some time, yes.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I mean, that's what's exciting to me about it is there's a potential of so many different people that can win this.
Yep. And even after the promo on Monday between Punk and Cody, I'll be honest, I didn't really think much about Punk winning the Rumble because I felt like they were going a different direction. But it's like that Punk promo that he cut on Cody, I'm like, okay, maybe they could go. Like there's, like you said, and I know Chris and I talked about it over the weekend. There's so many possibilities they can go with this year, and it makes it that much more exciting.
The thing I'll say about this, and maybe this is too early to be getting into this, but the one that they kind of feel like they're building the case for the most is Sami Zayn, and that somehow also still feels like one of the least likely winners. Like the one they're building the strongest case for.
Right.
Like he's not going to win over Roman or Punk or Rollins or Logan Paul or whomever, but he also like there's a really good story there, so maybe it would be Sammy.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are kind of forgetting that Roman is in the match this year. So yeah, like that's one of the biggest superstars of the last decade. Yeah, he's in the Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, you've got pretty much the entire top of the card minus KO and the champions in this Rumble. So, and they've done a great job of intermingling everybody. And they used this transfer window storyline to allow guys to pop over shows to build this, which I actually thought that was a great touch that they booking in WWE has gotten. I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but it's gotten miles better than it was a couple years back. And yeah, they've built a completely wide open Rumble with a lot of different storylines. And I don't know. I can't figure out where we're going for Mania. There's a million different pathways you can take here.
Let's talk about Sami Zayn for a second, because I like how you're right, Alex. He's kind of being booked right now. Okay, he was very popular with the Bloodline, whether it was he was heel or face. But this is the most interested I've been in Sami Zayn in a while, is the different backstage vignettes he's having. Like the one he had with Punk the other night. You're right, I'm not on your level, but I have main evented a WrestleMania. Like, I would love to see those two go after it. But Sami Zayn to me is so intriguing right now because it's very veiled and mysterious what they're doing with him. They really haven't shown their cards with him.
Right. And it's kind of interesting to see too, because I feel like maybe, what's the storyline that's interesting to me is like, is him and KO, are they going to like sabotage the Rumble? You know what I mean? And then make themselves like the main event like this, you know what I mean? It would be genius. It would be it would be wrestling. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
We'd be
I
talking.
have an idea.
Go ahead.
If I may. Sorry, I feel like I'm dominating too much, but
No, not at all.
Not at all.
I have so KO's like, they're like, you got to do something for yourself, and then KO's like, you're my friend, you're always gonna have my back, kind of thing. So my thought is, Sammy helps KO win the Rumble, or the title. Sorry, Sammy helps KO win the title, in a way where it's kind of like maybe he's thinking about it, it's inadvertent, but somehow he helps Kevin win the title. But then Kevin screws Sammy out of the Rumble, and Sammy wins the Elimination Chamber in Toronto. Like, to me, that's the KO Sammy main event for the title.
Let me throw this out there, T, and I think I threw this out to Chris this weekend. They're really emphasizing that you have to grab both belts. They're really emphasizing that you have to grab both belts.
Yeah, I heard them say that too. First person to grab both belts.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, it could be one of those.
Oh, they could do it. I mean, they could do a screw job with Cody where they each grab a belt and then
But for real though, as you were saying, Nick, so wide open. Punk, Seth, Drew, Sammy, Cena, Roman. Like, how many? There's so many ways that this will go that can make sense. You know what I mean? For storyline wise, you know what I mean. So, I think that's what makes it feel so wide open.
How do you people feel about Drew McIntyre winning? What would be the angle they would go with there? What would be the way to go? I mean, he's being featured predominantly.
Yeah.
Everything I've read said he's going to have a huge 2025. Well, no better way to kick it off than with that. I mean, that's a guy I think that's getting forgot about. I would say, the most common names I'm hearing are Rollins, Punk, Cena, Reigns.
Right.
Those are the four that I'm hearing the most, but like we've talked about Sami Zayn, he could very well win it. We talked about Drew McIntyre. I just think you can make the case for so many of these guys, and that's what makes this great.
Right.
And then Shinsuke Nakamura. How dare I?
Who is not winning? We all love Shinsuke Nakamura, okay? I do too. I enjoy the Kabuki tribute gimmick he is doing,
right?
But not winning the Royal Rumble. He's a mid-card guy. I mean,
the thing about Drew is, like, I think he lost the Punk feud, right? He's still on this like retribution tour from not getting, from winning the title in 2020 when nobody was there, and you know what I mean. So, if he wins, he could always, fall back. That's like an almost kind of ongoing storyline with him, minus all the feuds that he has with everybody else, right? You know what I mean? Big return. So you have to throw him in the hat as a possibility, but I wouldn't put him in the handful of 3 or 4. What's that?
Especially with the way last year's WrestleMania ended for Drew. He held that title for 5 minutes before he lost it.
Yeah,
it's true.
That would be he's trying to redeem himself for that, right? Maybe not. I mean, he's got to redeem himself over the Punk feud loss, losing the belt after 5 minutes. It's a good way to tie it all in here. We are Card Subject Change podcast by the fan for the fan. We are powered by Low Pies Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zook of Country Financial. I think I'm interested with all these stars being involved in the Rumble match itself. How are they spread out throughout the whole thing? Are we going to just get them all dumped on us, 20 through 30, or are we going to have some guys in there, obviously 1, 2, and 3, who'll be there at the end?
You're always going to have.
I'm talking about the big names.
You're always going to have somebody that gets the Iron Man award, and you can, again, it's one of those things. You could go a million different ways there. I definitely could see that being the Sami Zayn spot because he is the ultimate underdog.
Yeah.
You can see Punk. Also, who's the number 2? Who's the number 3? Are we going to get a surprise entrant in there? Are we going to? A surprise entrance is a topic, but will someone say his name and will he appear? I think
yes. Yeah, he's going to be in the 20s. We'll see him like in the 20s somewhere.
Yeah,
I think we absolutely will see him. And DB and everybody else in attendance will pop and be singing
yeah.
along, and it's we're all about creating moments, right? Like him as a champion now. I mean, maybe we get Joe Hendry, John Cena at WrestleMania. That'd be kind of cool. I mean,
That would be insane.
I mean, that would be
wild.
That'd be nuts.
That'd be nuts.
Oh
man, I don't
see it though. I don't see it though.
I want to go. All right, let's go around the room here. We'll go Alex, Regal, DB, Zach, and then CZ. Book your biggest surprise. What is the surprise you want to see? I know we're kind of skipping around here. It's what we do. We really don't go in order, do we, CZ? So
no, not really.
What surprise would you like to see with the Rumble match itself?
Sure. Oh, you put me on the spot.
Oh yeah.
It's okay.
I'll go if you need a second.
Are we talking
go
men's
ahead.
or are we talking either Rumble?
What's
talking men's,
that,
right?
Regal?
Just the men's
Are
right
we
now,
talking
right?
strictly men's or
Well, let's just talk the men's Rumble right now. We'll get to the
Okay.
women's here in a little bit.
Okay.
Go ahead, DB. I defer my time to him.
Okay. My surprise for the men's Rumble, Zack Ryder is dead, but Matt Cardona is not. I think it's going to be the year to bring him on. Chelsea Green's already there. Makes sense. He's a free agent. He's on good terms. He's been seen backstage sometimes. I think it'd be awesome. I think it'd be perfect. It'd be a good surprise. He'd get a good pop in, I believe. So that's what I'm going for surprise.
I like that. That's one that I haven't really thought about or heard. Alex is still deep in thought. We'll go to Regal. What's your big surprise you would like to see?
Since I already said Joe Henry, I'm going to disqualify that one.
Okay.
I'm going to go with somebody who really has turned the corner to me in the last couple months. I'm going with the current NXT champion, Obafemi.
Yeah.
Be a big showcase for him to come in, just power, fill the ring up with some mid-card guys, have him come out, toss 3 or 4 guys over, get eliminated by a main eventer. Big showing for him and just let him show off the power and the athleticism that I think in the next few years you're going to see him in a much more prominent role in a Royal Rumble.
I like that you said that, Regal, because I was talking to a friend earlier today about Obafemi, and they're just overly impressed. The size, the body, what he can do in the ring, and that little thing that he does after he talks, it's going to take off and be the new Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
And the little dance and the walk that he does in the way of the ring, like, yes, I would pop if I seen Obafemi show up Saturday night for sure. Zach, what do you got? What surprise would you like to see?
Honestly, their roster right now is so stacked. I don't think you need a ton of surprises. As far as TNA guys go, that I would maybe like to see, as it was mentioned here in the chats, the Hardys would be a fun pop to see come back in some shape or form. Moose, I think, would be one that would kind of turn some heads a little bit. He's not one that really gets a whole lot of talking about, and even maybe Nick Nemeth, him coming back to a WWE ring for the first time since he's left, like that'd be a lot of fun too.
Yeah.
I see Mr. Regal shaking his head in disapproval though.
No, I do not need to see Dolph Ziggler again. We've seen it. We've done it. We've read the book. It's over.
But it wouldn't be Dolph Ziggler. It'd be Nick Nemeth.
He's still the most boring dude you can possibly throw at me.
I like those names. CZ, I'll go to you. Alex looked like he has his answer, but he's preparing his statement. So I'm going to go. Wiz, what's the surprise you want to see, buddy?
Honestly, I think in our comments, and Zach hit the nail on the head, I would love to see Moose make an appearance with this new TNA agreement. I think he would be dominant in the Rumble. He'd make a good showing, and it would be a good showcase for TNA having his presence there.
Okay. I'm going to go. We'll go to Alex. Go ahead, Alex.
I'm going to say one half of the GHC World Tag Team Champions, the Colossal Omos, coming back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like somehow Noah has figured out how to book him in a way that WWE could not in the previous administration, just making him seem like a big guy and a big deal. And you look at everything he's doing in Japan, everything he's doing in Noah, and he's just like, to me, elevated his star power to a new level. Capitalize that in the Royal Rumble, where you don't need him to come out and have a 5-star match, and just make him feel like a big deal for a minute and bring him out to remind people who he is.
Not a bad idea. He's one of those guys that's been out of sight, out of mind. And you're right. He has been doing some good things over in Japan with Noah. Was a GHC tag team champion over there. I believe he was. I like when they're doing this. Branch him out a little bit, get him some reps, bring him back, and maybe it's a better presentation. I think we can all hope that it's a better presentation when they bring him back into things.
Can I throw a wild card one?
Go ahead.
I got one. Obviously, we're in Indianapolis. You got to put Pat in this Rumble, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Pat's going to be in this Rumble. So I'm gonna throw out what a surprise that I think we could see. Pat's in the Rumble. Buzzer goes off. Stay down.
Corey.
It's Corey Graves.
Yes.
Corey Graves runs in, throws Pat over the top rope. We're going to Mania with Pat McAfee versus Corey Graves.
With the color commentary chair on next to the
Pat can't lose that match until football season.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to pause the talk here for a little bit on the men's Rumble. And
what was your pick?
What was my pick? I would really like to see, because he's been showing up at every show and doing something, I'd like to see JBL just show up and just lay somebody out. I don't care who he lays out, but just see him come through the crowd and the cowboy hat and lay somebody out and leave. Like he's been at every indie show. He's done it on GCW a few times. He does it in TNA. I'm not a big JBL mark, but I do like the clothesline from hell, so I'd be cool with that.
I got one more before we jump.
Absolutely.
I don't even know if it's possible. Maybe it's not. It probably isn't. Big E comes out and eliminates Kofi.
Oh
yeah, no. I feel like I've thought about this since one of the other guys on my podcast said that. I feel like he might come out and throw out both of them,
Yeah.
Xavier and Kofi.
That'd be great.
He did repost the New Day Sucks T-shirt here earlier today on his Instagram, I believe. So.
Okay.
You don't even have to have Big E actually get in the ring. You can just have him walk out, and then somebody walks up behind him and eliminates both of them, like Cena or somebody else.
Yep.
But you can have them involved in just having him involved in their elimination in some way would be a huge.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're probably going to see Kofi do the Kofi animalistic thing that he does every Rumble that he's in. So he'll figure out something.
Or with the new heel gimmick, I'd love to see him in that precarious situation and then just drop and be like, it's not worth it. Just take it away from me.
The fans want to see it, right? It's like, you don't.
Here's the difference, though. This is going to be heel Kofi.
Right.
All those other times we've seen is face Kofi. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So, he might give us the bird and walk out. Yeah.
We are Card Subject Change Podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Of course, we're again powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo, and protected by Jared Zuka Country Financial. We want to thank them so much. We couldn't do this without them or do it as well as we do. That's for sure. We've really devoted a lot of time to the men's Rumble, and we can come back to it, but I definitely want to shed some light on the women's Rumble. I'm not trying to downplay it. I'm excited, but I feel there's a big-time heavy favorite, and I know I'm not alone in this room when I say that. Am I wrong with that, with the women's Rumble? Like, it just seems like they're going in a certain direction.
I'm assuming you're thinking Charlotte.
Yes, yeah, Charlotte. Yeah,
yes.
With the vignettes.
Here's my thought. I don't mind it, but what about Becky? I feel like we're getting close to a Becky return too.
Very much so. That's kind of that might be your biggest return for the women, Zach. I'm glad you brought that name up because out of sight, out of mind. She's been doing the book tour thing, taking some time off. She has re-signed with WWE. That's very much so.
Has she?
Yes, I believe she has.
There was a rumor that came out that she had resigned, but I never saw a confirmation of the rumor.
Okay.
I don't think I saw that anywhere reputable. I could be wrong, but I don't recall seeing that anywhere.
That's a name. I mean, that's a name to throw out there for sure. But am I wrong in thinking that they're kind of going the Charlotte route? She's been out of wrestling for so long. Time to get her back in the limelight.
And she's chasing her dad's record too.
Correct.
She's at what, 14?
I'll look that up. Right now.
I want to say she's at 14.
Dad's still at 16 technically, right? Him and Cena.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So Cena breaks that this year, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too.
I will say I feel like I'll say this for Charlotte. At this point, I feel like her versus Rhea Ripley is the biggest match you can do. And is this where Rhea gets the win back from that COVID mania?
Right. Yeah. But what about her versus Tiffy too on the flip side?
Well,
that kind of sounds, that'd be a good athletic matchup, I think. They need time to burn the storyline in somehow, to get everybody interested a little more. I mean, the story with Rhea, like Timmy said, is already there. You know what I mean? So
yeah, Charlotte
we'd
has
watch that all
14 title shot or 14 title reigns.
And the story with Tivy is that their careers are so mirrored with the background in, athletics and coming in and learning in WWE and having that, the PC training and everything like that coming right in.
Tiffy, the up and comer, the new kid on the block, has the gold, but the queen returns to put her in her place. I don't know. I would love to see Rhea and Charlotte again because that match, was it 2 manias ago at 39?
COVID, wasn't it? It was 2020, wasn't it? 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
The first one was COVID, but the second one,
okay,
they fought 2 years ago, I believe.
You're probably right.
I'll say that was like a SummerSlam or something. I think maybe
he is never wrong.
He's right. Why would we argue?
Probably right. Nick Bull just doesn't ring up.
Look at that's a good tag team partner right there.
Charlotte
CZ's over here reminding us of your nickname.
I know they did that, but not just the COVID mania either. Let me effort. We're talking about Charlotte here. We talked about Becky. Is there another name?
Jade Cargill.
Jade, yeah.
Is she back? Is she back? Regal, have you heard anything about her injury and recovery time?
Nothing. That's the thing. There's been almost no word on what the deal is with Jade Cargill. So
I thought that it was a work, wasn't it?
I thought I read the other day. I thought I read the other day that she's supposed to be back at the PC last week or this week. So I'm not sure.
I was thinking if she came back, it would be like a singles repackage. You know what I mean? Yeah. She came back out, and she knows who beat her up in the parking lot, and she finishes that off, and and then we got to return. We got to do Jade versus Charlotte at some point too. Tiffy, Jade.
Yep.
The match this year, though, DB, if I were booking it, I would have Bianca be the one who threw her off into the car and have that match at Mania. Jade and Bianca.
Same.
Yeah.
We've mentioned a lot of good names.
Turn her heel? Will they turn her heel? Or will they keep her like Cena where they always just kept him face after he, broke out?
Who, Jade?
Bianca.
Oh, Bianca. I don't know. I think she's good at both.
I do too. I remember Bianca NXT as a heel.
Yeah. She was a nasty little heel with whipping people with the rope and hair and stuff.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. So she was good at both. Yeah.
WrestleMania 39 night 1, Rhea Ripley defeated Charlotte by pinfall for the SmackDown Women's title.
Okay.
So,
Buddy Primo reminded me too. Let's put Alexa Bliss on the table. Is that possible?
Thank you. That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Things I've been reading, they're at odds with contracts. She wants her contract re-upped, but WWE.
Well, it sounds like she wants to renegotiate her contract for more money, is what I read.
Yeah.
So, is CZ or Nick frozen over there?
I'm not.
I think Nick is frozen.
Nick froze, I think.
Take over, CZ.
You mentioned Alexa, and it just catatonicked him.
The other thing I'll throw out is we're trying to come up with what the WrestleMania match is going to be. Is there, I mean, she's still pretty green, pretty new as a champion. Is there any guarantee that maybe Tiffy doesn't drop the women's title between now and Mania? Is there guarantee that Tiffy will still be women's champion? Women's WWE champion by WrestleMania.
Yep. Because we still do have another pay-per-view after the Rumble. We have the Elimination Chamber. So,
yeah.
Or a Saturday night's main event. How many of those are there between? Yep. They really need to do a big title change on a Saturday night's main event pretty soon here, I think, if they want to keep people watching them.
Because, we only have, for this Saturday, there's only 4 matches announced for this Saturday. So it's not a very loaded card by any stretch, match-wise.
Right.
But the matches, there's a lot of meat on the bone with the matches. You get 2 Rumbles. You get that Cody KO ladder match, which everybody
that's probably going to go 40 minutes at least.
And then you've got a 2 out of 3 falls between DIY and Motor City Machine Guns. So
2025 at least, probably.
At least, yeah.
Also, how crazy is that we're having these are the DIY and the Motor City Machine Guns are having a 2 out of 3 falls match at the Royal Rumble in 2025.
I know, right? Life, right? That's wild.
It's great. That's what's great about wrestling, man. The stuff you think you're never going to see, right?
Right.
Yeah. Tell me that one back in 2015. That
that one in 20.
Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano from AAW in Chicago were going to wrestle on the Rumble for a half an hour.
Right.
I think Alexa. Another person I think we could see. You got to think maybe some Mela is Money might be showing up in this Royal Rumble.
Depends on how much heat Corey's got.
She's been gone for a while.
Right.
She looks like, because obviously her social media is pretty active. She looks like she's ready to go. So she looks like she's 100% back, ready to go, and I would not be surprised if she's in the Rumble.
Here's the question I keep seeing on social media too, and I'll throw it out there. Do we think we're going to light it up Saturday night? Think we're going to have an AJ Lee return?
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
That would be big.
Yes.
When I asked men's or women's Rumble for the surprise, what would be the biggest surprise? That would be my biggest surprise and my happiest moment.
Yeah. No, I think we're there. I think it's time. It'd be nice.
I like where Rob Kammerer, friend of the show, is going here. Nova can't be a Rumble without at least one of the Bellas, and I guess one of the Bellas has kind of showed the one not married to
Nikki.
Bryan Danielson has showed interest
Nikki,
in coming back in wrestling.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, she'll be in it.
For sure.
She'll be in it. What legends are we getting? What legends are we getting?
Safe to assume Masha Slamovich as the TNA Women's Champion will be.
Yep.
In
Jordan Grace
obviously,
just signed with WWE.
Jordan Grace,
apparently.
100%. Yep.
Yep.
Probably see Roxanne Perez, I'm going to say.
Okay. Yep.
What about Stacy Keibler or Melina? We got Melina a couple years ago. Something, you know what I mean? Any of those?
Who could they pull? Who could they bring back?
Holly.
Victoria.
Great.
Victoria just got a.
Yeah, she's got a Legends deal. Michelle
Legends
McCool.
deal. Yeah.
Michelle
I
McCool.
feel like Michelle's always on the table too. Yeah.
Trish,
Take her.
Lita.
You can always throw Tori Wilson out there because she's.
Yep.
Yeah, Lita was in 2022. I don't know if she's been in since then, but
The interesting thing about just like looking at women's wrestling in general is they usually tend to retire so much earlier or younger than the men, but they're still in good enough shape that they can have a comeback for a one-off more frequently.
Sure.
For sure. That's a very good point. Very good point.
Awesome Kong.
Let's talk Awesome Kong. Well, then.
That'd be great. I don't see that.
But what was her WWE
awesome
name? It was
Karma.
Intended.
There you
Karma.
go. Thank you. Karma. Yeah.
Karma.
Yeah.
CZ, did you say that?
That was me.
Oh, that was
Tim.
you. I was going to say, CZ, pull out your Karma action figure, the one standing right next to the King Mabel one. I want to see him.
King Mabel.
Somehow in this era, if she showed up, I have a feeling she'd be Awesome Kong, though, under this
Right.
new
Yeah.
regime.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a better name for sure.
Wow. The women's Rumble is it'll be good. It'll be good. I thought it was a better Rumble of the two last year, but I think the men's, definitely has the odds to be the better match this year. But I hope they throw us a wrinkle. If we seem like a rift between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, I'm for that. That's cool. Let's get going. I'll invest into that story. I just like the men's, there's going to be moments. There's going to be new stories coming out of this, and I think that's what makes this event so special. Ooh, the Sit Down Marks podcast repping here. Shouting out to DB. Mickie James. Why not? She signed that deal with WWE. She's on that new show, LFG.
Legends, Futures, and
Legends, Futures, and Stars or something.
It's LFG, yeah.
Yeah.
Futures
So
and,
maybe she does have. And she's made a couple appearances in the past while under the TNA banner. So, man, Rumble. Let's talk about the main event. Is it safe to say it's the main event? I'm guessing the men's Rumble goes on last, right? Maybe this.
I would assume so.
KO Cody's right before this, I think.
Yep.
What's that, DB?
I think the main event's right before this, I believe. I think they'll book in probably and have the matches in between.
Yep.
Cody and KO will go right before the men's. That's my guess. Seems fluent that way.
Are we excited for this? Are we excited for this because the story or of the added stipulation of the ladder match?
Both for me.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
I'm excited because I think this has been an amazing story. Like they've told a great story here. The ladder match is fine. The ladder match is kind of WWE's signature go-to title stipulation match at this point.
Nice.
It is the most beautiful.
Wait. Hold on, Regal. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I would pay good money to see the Wizard get in a ring and climb a ladder to get one of those belts.
Not happening.
Winged Eagle belt.
I like. DB's got his Winged Eagle belt.
Yeah, I got a super. Yeah, I got a little mini one. Mine's for action figures. See, he's got the real thing though. He's got the beauty.
It's the most beautiful belt. It is the greatest belt ever made. I will firmly stand by that and die on that hill.
Go ahead, Regal. We'll talk about that Winged Eagle belt another time. But talk about this story and how how it's got people tuned in.
They've done an amazing job of telling the story. It's layered. It all makes sense. And I've always said one of the greatest narrative structure things that you can do is when the bad guy in the story is a bad guy, but he's also completely justified in what he's doing. And they've not only done it once, they've done it currently twice, because you have KO and you have Drew both essentially being that kind of a heel, that kind of a bad guy, where, yeah, they're the bad guy, but you also kind of understand what why they're doing it. And I came up with the interesting analogy Monday it was during Saturday's main event of Cody versus KO is what we would have gotten if in like 88 Dusty and Ric Flair would have done a double turn. Except Cody is Rick and KO is playing what a heel Dusty would have been.
I'm glad you brought that up, Regal, because I was going to bring that up. That reference, I believe that you shared with CZ and I in our chat. I totally agree with that. I mean, is there a high likelihood we see a double turn at this match?
It's not out of the realm of possibility because
I know it's kind of a reach, but man, I think people would be on board for it.
I mean, Cody's not going to stay face forever. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely coming. This would probably catch mostly everybody off guard You know
And
what
it
I
would
mean? It's
set
probably a good time to do it.
It would set up a babyface Cena versus a heel Cody.
It's
Ooh.
I think I think doing a babyface Cena versus a heel Cody is really bad booking, in my opinion. Like, it'd be a good match, but in terms of like, you don't want this old guy that's about to be retired. We like him a lot better than the guy that's going to be here for another 10 years or so.
True.
Like, I wouldn't do that. I'm not saying
it'd be a dream match. It'd be a dream match, but I understand what you're saying, Alex. From the booking purposes, the aftermath would be a hard thing to clean up.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying don't turn Cody, but I'm saying if you turn Cody, the opponent should not be John Cena. Do Sammy or do Roman or do somebody who isn't about to ride off into the sunset.
Right.
I mean, is it possible for Cody Rhodes, who completed the story last year in Philly at 40, to then maybe a year later going from the number one face to the number one heel in the company?
And then do Cody Roman 3 with Roman as the babyface and Cody as the heel?
I mean, who would have seen that at 40? I mean,
Let me ask this: do we see The Rock on Saturday at all?
Absolutely, we do.
I think that's a great point. You know what? That would be a big surprise, maybe. Zach, I'm glad you brought The Rock back up, and I love about this. We can just skip around. We don't have to stick to a certain match or anything. I love this because, you know, the rumor everybody in this room has heard it or seen it, that Rock's going to be 31, right, and come out and win the Rumble. How is that accepted by the audience? Because I see both sides of it. I see being extremely pissed off, and then I see it's like, hey, this is this is one of those big time.
But what if? So here's one that I'll throw to you. Rock comes out at number 31. Say it's down to Roman, Cena, Punk, and Rock. Rock eliminates Roman. That kind of helps set up Rock Roman WrestleMania, even if Rock doesn't win the Rumble.
Okay.
If you bring out Rock as 31, do you have people still in, or do you have it like somebody wins and then The Rock comes out and says, sorry, I'm number 31, and only throws one guy out to win instead of doing it with a full field? I mean, it would screw up the whole. This is the problem, is I think it would get heat. I think it would get some heat, but there's also just that percentage of the crowd that will not boo The Rock at all.
Yeah. It would definitely be a final boss move.
I think that gets Philadelphia reaction again. I think the crowd turns on it. I think the crowd shits all over it. There was one time where I thought possibly a number 31 would have been come into play and worked, and that was when they did the Roman Reigns 1 versus all Royal Rumble, where they had Triple H was just number 30. If you're gonna do The Rock, do him at number 30. Don't do the 30 gimmick, because then you're literally shitting on the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Which you've never. Now, you did. We went to 40 one time. And let's not talk
2011.
about fucking thing. Sorry for swearing. The thing in the greatest, aka most boring Royal Rumble of all time, Saudi Arabia. But
hey, Braun Strowman got a title belt.
My top 3.
Hey, we got the Titus O'Neil spot. It was good.
Oh,
okay. That was literally the only. That had been weird random sumo dude coming out were the only.
Because they wanted Yokozuna.
They wanted Yokozuna in the WWE, couldn't deliver.
Somebody had a great theory once where they said, I heard it, I can't remember I heard it, they said, imagine like Vince just called all the Japanese talent into the room and said, hey, do any of you guys know a sumo guy? And then Akira Tozawa would be like, I know Ricky Fuji. Like, I can only imagine how that conversation.
Didn't they also like paint Mojo Rawley's face because they wanted the Ultimate Warrior too?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, Mojo Rawley had warrior paint on.
I did not think Mojo Rawley's name would come up in tonight's show, man. That takes the cake.
Sorry.
I don't
Maybe he'll be in
think
the Rumble Saturday.
I don't think The Rock's going to win. I think if they did do that, it would get some big time heat, but I just don't think they're going to send us home like that. I think they're going to. This is what I'm thinking. If The Rock's involved, I'm thinking Roman comes out somewhere around, between 10 and 15, somewhere around in there, and does pretty well. And then The Rock, we get down to final three, and it's Rock, Cena, Roman. Rock gets Roman out. They do a little. They start a feud, have a match at Mania, and then we got Cena winning the Rumble. That's just my opinion. But in that scenario, I don't think I think if Cena's going to win, I think it's going to be something in that scenario. But
So Cena's your pick to win the men's Rumble.
I think in that scenario he is. I think I'm going with CM Punk. I think the momentum. Like why do so much with him? Have him beat Seth, have him beat Drew, have him beat. We got to be doing something with him, and it just makes sense. And I feel like he would be fun. I mean, the title run's coming, but I feel like he would be fun with a microphone and a shot at the title all the way to Mania. It would be gold on the microphone, and it would just print the money.
Let's talk about one guy we haven't talked about tonight, and we talked about him early as a possible favorite, and we never really got into the path that we see him taking post Rumble. That's Seth freaking Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be up there in the consideration for a guy that can win this match. What is his Mania? What's his way to Mania? Is it in the world title hunt with Gunther?
Yeah.
Is it, is that the end game, or is it with Logan Paul? That's another name we really didn't think about.
Yeah.
That probably come out and create a moment or something. I mean, what's his? I loved that segment the other night, and maybe they were foreshadowing. Maybe it's a triple threat match at Mania with Gunther, Rollins, and Logan Paul. I don't know.
If Logan Paul versus John Cena would be huge as far as mainstream media. I'll say that. I think that's a possibility. I've tried to figure out where Seth is going to land, and I'm not really sure this year. Like, it kind of reminds me of a couple years ago where he was kind of the safety valve for waiting on the Cody signing.
Yep.
And I kind of wonder, is it that scenario again where it's do we need to hold a guy in case something wacky happens and somebody can step in? Or is there, like I said, you do have Elimination Chamber, you've got a Saturday Night's Main Event, you've got 2 months to build to Mania. Obviously, you even have longer because Mania is moving to
Mania's
Easter
later
weekend.
this year. Yep.
Yeah, this year. So you have a lot of time to fill, and it's a good problem to have. You have all these names in this Rumble. It's not like previous years where you're sitting there going, okay, either this guy's going to win if they're going the Raw way, this guy's going to win if they're going the SmackDown way. We've had those Rumbles. This one is not that. This one, there's, of the 30 guys in it, 8, 9, 10 that might actually win. So,
Jey Uso.
You could always throw something crazy. Jey Uso, try to think of somebody else, but
I mean, Damian Priest, I don't really consider, but they could definitely make him seem viable in it.
Yep.
Yeah. How about
something out? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say real quick. How about Obafemi throws out Damian Priest and we get that match at Mania? Give me that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Sign me up for that, DB.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great.
Do you think, just looking at who their kind of most over top 6, 7 guys are, I'm not sure I comfortably put Gunther in that top 6 or 7 most over guys right now, which is crazy to think where he was a while back and how much I enjoy watching him in the ring. I feel like he's kind of flat right now. Like they were thinking about turning him babyface, and then they got cold feet. And like, is there any chance Gunther
why is he flat?
Mania with the title?
Alex, you got a good wrestling mind, and I'm a big Gunther fan, so I want to ask you, like, you're right, like this reign does kind of seem unassuming compared to everything else he did or how he was presented when he was the Intercontinental Champion. How do they make it better?
Well, the weird thing is, it felt like they were like, because there were rumors of like the Goldberg thing, right? That they were going to do Goldberg and Gunther, but then it kind of felt like they were almost kind of trying to turn him babyface, and I think that killed a lot of his heat. They were kind of making him like a little tweener, and I can't even remember what program it was. But so like, I mean, I think you just got to get him like, I mean, maybe do you do Cena Gunther at WrestleMania and have Gunther just beat him in like a minute?
Or does Cena win 17?
What?
Or does Cena beat him and win the title?
That really kills his heat.
I mean, you're trying to make him better. I understand that.
You asked me
I
how
don't
to
know
get
who his answer. Like, you know, we'll know after Saturday night. I feel you think we would have a clear-cut answer or two on who we think he's going to wrestle at Mania. And
I'm just saying there's 6 or 7. I can think of 6 or 7 guys who I feel like are more over than him right now.
Yeah.
So do you consider having him drop the title at Elimination Chamber, having him drop the title at a Saturday night's main event, and go in a different direction with the Mania main event? He does, like, that title doesn't feel like it's a world title right now. It feels like it's somewhere, like it's WWE title. Mm-hmm. This is somewhere here, and then the IC is like right here, maybe
just
like
tick under. Yeah,
it's not equal to the WWE title with the way they're booking it right now.
I don't know if they've really done him any favors.
No,
and I'm not cutting down Jey Uso. I like Finn Balor, and Damian Priest and Gunther needed to have their thing since Gunther took the title off of him. I get that. I just feel they really haven't done him any favors when it comes to throwing him somebody in the crowd being compelled.
They're trying to elevate. They were trying to elevate a lot of guys with that title, I think, and like new guys feuding for the world title. But what it did is they weren't quite like, when they put that title on, they needed to put him in a feud with somebody like Rollins or like Drew or like somebody who was a clearly established main eventer. And by putting him with other people who were on their way up, I feel like it had the reverse effect that it kind of slid him down and slid the title down, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's fair. Zach, how do you want the Rumble to end? How do you see the men's Rumble match ending?
Honestly, I would, just because I want to see that record broken this year, I'd be perfectly fine with John Cena winning it. I really would, because I would love to see him go to Mania. I think regardless, Cena is in the main event at WrestleMania, whether he wins the Rumble or wins at the Elimination Chamber. I think regardless, John Cena's in that main event at WrestleMania going for the record.
Regal, how about you?
My official winner pick? God. I'm going Cena. I think Cena's winning the Rumble, and I know this is going to make Alex unhappy. I think he's beating Gunther Mania. I really do. I think you got to give him 16 at some point, and you can always have Gunther get the win back later. Or do you go with Alex's idea of Cena wins the Rumble, goes to WrestleMania, Gunther destroys him, and then you build to a rematch at SummerSlam where, because they did the thing with Brock where Cena had to come back and beat Brock. You could do that with Gunther as well.
I like that. And you know what, Regal? That's the winner in elevating Gunther. Is Alex preceded here a couple minutes ago saying destroy him at Mania, and then you're right. There's your SummerSlam co-headliner right there.
Well, that way too, if you don't have him win at WrestleMania, it gives the fans that extra thought in their head, like, shit, Cena doesn't have many more chances to break this record because he's retiring at the end of the year. So yeah, it makes his match at SummerSlam just that more important.
I agree. And is SummerSlam 2 days this year?
I was trying to think about that.
I think so. I think
it is.
Isn't it in Minneapolis?
No, it's Minneapolis 26, isn't it?
Yes, I'm looking
No,
right now.
I don't think this year. I think Minneapolis is the first
Yeah, I think
2-day SummerSlam.
Okay.
So I'm gonna.
I would love to see that. I like those. That's Regal's. Alex, how do you see the Rumble ending? And then I'm going to go to CZ after that.
So I think Cena wins and goes for Gunther. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Because I would still do the Kevin Sammy thing, and then my Mania matches are Kevin Sammy for the WWE, Cena Gunther for the World Heavy, Cody Punk no title, Rock Roman no title. That's a hell of a stacked WrestleMania card.
What do they do with the IC title? Braun.
Do you let Sheamus finally win it?
That's probably a Mania spot, you think?
Yeah.
I would have Sheamus beat him at Mania. I think Sheamus, I think he's come on, who wouldn't want to see those two open the show and just beat the shit out of each other?
Right.
Like, that match they had on Saturday night's main event, that spear, from the ground level up, that was amazing stuff. So maybe they were dipping their toes in the water there and kind of testing that out. But I think those guys, I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. Minneapolis was advertised, Alex, as the first SummerSlam. That's 2 nights, but it actually isn't. The first 2-nighter is this year at MetLife Stadium
in New York.
So
Midwest always getting screwed. We were supposed to have the first one.
Cena Gunther to close out night 2. Cena gets 17 and becomes the all-time leader. I mean, I don't know.
I just thought of a good Mania match. What about Logan Paul versus Jey Uso?
Let's do it.
The promos for that would be dynamite, building up into it.
I love that. Regal. I love that match.
Also,
maybe that opens the show.
we didn't even talk about, we forgot a obviously major main eventer, major chance to win. If you want to talk about the most over guys in the WWE, we forgot to completely mention one. There's a possibility. Could my boy Dirty Dom win the Royal Rumble?
No.
I love that thought, Regal, but I think Dom has about as much of a chance of winning the Rumble as Mantar does this year.
I think you're going to see CZ climbing a ladder to grab a belt before you Dom win the Rumble.
Who are you to doubt Dirty Dom?
He's got a proven track record. CZ, how do you want the Rumble to end? How do you see it going?
I mean, everybody's made good points about Cena winning the Rumble. I feel like this is Punk's year and Punk's time to go into the main event at Mania. That's how I would like to see it end. But the arguments for Cena winning are just so compelling that I don't know if I can argue with them.
Mm-hmm.
I can make a solid argument for both. You guys have strengthened the Cena. When I think about Cena winning, and you guys all thinking the same thing, I'm like, yeah, it can happen, and I'd be fine with it. The other one, but the thing that it tells me about Cena is he's already advertised for Elimination Chamber, right?
Yeah.
So does he get into the main event that way? So that kind of keeps me from picking him. Then I think of CM Punk. With all the time and the effort and the showcasing of him beating Rollins on the first Raw on Netflix, was supposed to be a WrestleMania-esque match, and they put it on Netflix for us. And that was a big deal. But the thing we really didn't talk about with Punk tonight is how does this favor that Heyman owes him figure into this whole thing? I don't know. I think if I had to go between Punk and Cena, I would probably lean Punk. But Cena's right there with. I could go either or to the day of, but for the sake of publishing it here, I'll say Punk. But I would love to see Cena go to WrestleMania and Chase Gunther destroys him, and then Cena get the back of SummerSlam. I think that would just be. I think that'd be the best for all parties involved.
I think Cena's road to WrestleMania goes through Elimination Chamber, not through the Rumble.
Okay. They are advertising it's his last stop in Toronto and that kind of stuff, so they're already making it a big deal that he's going to be there.
Yep.
I
Maybe,
can see that,
you
and
know,
that would clear the way for Punk to win the Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm picking Punk. Then we'll go around the room real quick for the women. DB, I'll start with you.
Jade Cargill. How about it?
Ooh, all right.
Like it.
Let's make a star. So, yeah.
Zach.
I'll go Becky Lynch.
Regal.
I hate to be chalk, but I'm going to go Charlotte. I think the way they've built the promos up, and they're clearly positioning her as a main event. So I'm gonna go chalk on this one and go Charlotte.
As am I, Regal. I'll spare everybody's time. Alex, your pick.
I would also say Charlotte. I think Charlotte's going to win.
Okay.
I do want Charlotte to win. She is my favorite. I'm a North Carolina boy, so we stick to our guns.
You grew up in Flair Country. I mean, that's you gotta root for.
With a tear in my eye, brother.
And then I'm just going to go around the room one more time for last second picks for this ladder match. Don't want to say I'm more excited for this than the Rumble match itself, but this is a pretty exciting championship match in my opinion. What do you think, DB?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see this one live. I'm not a big fan of title runs that go mania to mania. So I'm thinking something's going to be a little screwy here. I don't know. It's just kind of hard for me to pick against Cody at this point. So I'm going to say Cody retains and the storyline continues. So I'm going to say he retains.
I'm going to say we're going to have some weird schmaz. I keep going back to the fact that they're really hammering. You have to grab both belts. I think something's going to happen where maybe Cody ends up with the Winged Eagle and Kevin ends up with the other one. And it's going to be a weird, fluky thing like that is what I think is going to happen. So I don't think we'll have a clear, defining winner. I think this might get one more match come Elimination Chamber.
Mr. Regal.
I could see it going either way. I think you want Cody holding the belt going into Mania, so I'm going to say Cody.
Okay. Alex?
I just had the craziest thought going after what Zach said. I never even thought about this, but what if you do the schmaz finish, they each get one belt, and then they have KO, Cody, Gunther, and the Rumble winner in a 2-night 4-man tournament for an undisputed, like, unified WWE champion. One champion.
Be first one since Jericho.
That being said, my want pick is KO. I think Cody's going to retain.
Yeah.
I think Cody and Punk is honestly more compelling without the title, and putting the title in another program could elevate it. So, but I think Cody's going to win.
Let's talk about that for a second. Did you guys enjoy that promo the other night as much as I did between Punk and Cody?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back and watch it, I want you to listen to the crowd.
Right.
Because they're hanging on every word that both guys is saying. There's no what cheers, there's no heckling. It's revered silence. It's good silence because everybody was hanging on every word. I like how it ended, with the shoulder to the chest as I walk out and help get back here. Man, I thought it was really good television.
Yeah, I mean, that promo the other night, too, that kind of led me more to feel like CM Punk was a more believable Royal Rumble winner, which is weird to say, but I feel like it made his case more compelling.
This was two professional storytellers on the microphone, probably at their peak. And I was hanging on the edge too, man. Like, you know, in the middle of a promo, if I stop and I go, man, this is good. You know what I mean? Like to myself, right? I know you guys feel the feeling, and like you're in. You know what I mean? You're all in on, you know, what they're saying and hanging on to it. And I don't know what happened, but once Cody, like once he came back to AEW, it was like he gained all his dad's promo ability or something, man, or it just finally came out of him, you know, that kind of stuff. But I seen him do one live. He cut one live at AEW house, or it wasn't a house show. I think it was a Dynamite against MJF. I don't know if you guys remember where he was, they were feuding. He took off his watch and threw it down. It's one of the best promos I've ever heard live, you know, and I've just been a big fan of him on the microphone. So yeah, and these two together, man, they can storytell, like, you know, just the best.
I think Cody retains, but for the sake of being a wrestling fan and for something to talk about, man, I hope KO pulls some shenanigans and walks out of their champion. I mean, it's nothing against Cody. Cody is an impeccable pro, is that A guy, does everything that's asked of him, puts on good matches, great talker, great guy. He's what you want your champion to be, but man, I'm rooting for some shenanigans. I think it just it'd be fun to just witness it and talk about it, of course, afterwards.
Yes. I would if I were booking the way I wanted it to go, I would have KO come away with the win, maybe have Cody get it back at Elimination Chamber just to break up his title run a little bit. But Cody's not walking out of there without the belts, I don't think.
Fair enough. I want to go back here to the comments real quick. Stryker listening in and commenting. He said, kind of teased the other night on Raw, but that I can't get a comment to pop up, but that Penta and Breaker might be a match at Mania for the IC. So I'm not going to lie, I got nothing against Penta. I would rather see Sheamus get it at Mania, but Braun and Penta would be great. I'm not going to complain about that match either. So
styles make fights, and that's a great contrast in styles.
It is. You're absolutely right. I am glad that we had some contrasting styles we were able to mesh in here tonight, fellas. I want to thank you for getting hour aside of your time. I know everybody's got busy schedules, but man, it was so much fun to get on here and talk Royal Rumble predictions, how we want it to go. CZ and I were looking forward to this, man, and it delivered. I hope you guys had as much fun as I did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, it was a good time. It was a good time.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. That is going to wrap up. Excuse me. That is going to wrap up this episode of Card Subject to Change. Thank you for tuning in on a special Wednesday episode. Our Kickout show will return next week at its regular time, but we will be back on Sunday. Nick and I will give our thoughts after the Rumble. So stay tuned for that. And thank you again for tuning in to Card Subject to Change. We'll see you next week. Right back at our regular time.
This has been a For Frequency Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.